Hey there, it's Perry with PapercraftingThreads. Thanks for joining me. Today I have an easy little fun fold that I'm using as an alternative for the Bikes and Blooms June 2026 paper pumpkin kit. But feel free to use anything in your stash to craft along. So let's get started. I have a piece of Calypso coral. It measures 5.5 this way. I need to cut it down to measure 8 inches. So that's 5.5 by 8 inches. And I'm scoring this long side at 1/2 inch and 3 3/4 inches. Then I have a piece of Calypso coral that's 4 by 4 inches. And scoring this at 1/2 inch. I have one of the envelopes from the kit. I'm going to cut off just a sliver here on the bottom. Whoops, that's my scoring blade. And slivers on the side. Save that for another card. I want to get this down so that it's square. And save that for another project. This piece of the envelope, I want it to measure 3 3/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So first thing I'm doing is cutting off, or getting it even. This distance here to here needs to be the same. So it's about 1 1/4 inches from this bit to this edge. So I want this side to have about 1 1/4 inches as well. So right now it's probably 1/8 of an inch too much. I'm going to put that here. Now I want to cut off 7/8 inch on each side. And then I want to do a 1/2 inch this way. I'm trying to get this not quite in the middle, but near enough. I also have part of one of the card bases. I've already cut it up for some other projects. But for this project, I want it to be 3 inches. By 5 1/4. And I also want a piece of basic white. That's 3 inches by 5 1/4. Also from the kit, I have this piece, this piece, this piece, and that one. We're gonna do a little bit of stamping. I have a full-size Calypso coral ink pad, but the Stampin' Spot works just as well. And stamping these flowers, turning it to fit in the space. I have the sentiment, best wishes from the kit. I'm laying down a piece of scrap paper to protect the foam pad. And this piece that measures 5 1/4 by 3 inches that I cut earlier to stamp some butterflies. And then also on this piece of basic white that we cut earlier, inking up these flowers. Okay, using my bone folder, folding this up, giving it a good burnish, and pulling this one down and back. And this one. I'm going to use a combination of seal and glue. Since this is more than that, I'm going to place that at the bottom. We'll be covering things up, so it's not going to matter. And then switching over to my liquid glue, or you could use tear and tape as well. Want something stronger than seal though. And then putting this in the center here. And I'm just eyeballing it, so it's about a finger width. Okay, so this is the card so far, and flip that up. I'm going to cover that flap with this. And then this flips up. We're adding liquid glue here. And giving that a burnish to help get that set. And then to finish decorating, I'm going to cut off everything of the bike. I want just the basket. I'm going to go right up along that black line, cutting off the white. And then same thing up here. And this part, you do not need to be careful because we will be covering up some of this edge. So I want to get the bike handles off of there for sure. Just going along here. And again, like I said, I don't have to be super careful because I'm going to be covering up a lot of this. Now that I'm over here, I do need to be more careful. Especially down in here. Like that, and then placing some adhesive on the flowers, on the basket I should say. And it's okay that that sticks out over there. I do want this hanging off the side a little bit. And then using dimensionals. And I'm going to be quite generous here. Just staying away from this edge. Remove the backings. Placing that on there. Dimensionals on the back of this. And then with the thread in the kit, tying a bow. Rolling up a glue dot. Oh, there's one down here. And tucking it here underneath that label. And to finish up, using some of the butterflies. And there you have it, a quick little fun fold. Find written instructions over on my blog at... If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and thanks for watching. Bye.